Hello, hello, hello.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, everyone. So Nettie just got to see me rush to get on here within 15 minutes time, and I made it. I accidentally fell asleep. All right, let's welcome everybody over here. We have Nette's Living Free Zipcodeless coming in here first. We have Nomadic Hippie. He says, I'm at Steak and Shake. Don't start without me. Steak and Shake. Cheeseburger and a cheese fry. My favorite thing. Comfort food. We have Happy Place Camping. Thrifty Angela. Hitch Up and Tow. We have Linda Barker. I think I got everybody that came in so far. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but I will catch you as soon as I see you pop up in the chat. Happy Place said, oops, I could have fallen asleep. Been gloomy all day. Yeah, I laid down at 3:30 just to stretch my back out because I thought if I sit up too long, my back starts hurting. So I laid down just to stretch my back out and watch my phone. That was the mistake. I don't remember the clock again until 4:45. Lord. All right, let me get this opened up here so we can share the screen. There we go. I gotta make it big.
Yeah.
So you said this one was Donald suggested this one, right?
Yes. This is a story that he suggested.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into it. Bobby Greenlease Jr. Old looking school desk.
Yeah.
You do this one first.
Okay. It was about 11:30 a.m. when the phone rang at the Robert and Virginia Greenlease home in Mission Hills on a warm autumn morning in 1953. That Virginia Greenlease was Hope surprised the caller.
Another woman had picked up 6-year-old Bobby Greenlease from school a half hour earlier to take him to the hospital to see his mother, said the caller. An unofficial at Bobby's private school. Virginia supposedly had gotten quite ill that morning while shopping at the Country Club Plaza. Hey, Shanna Craft.
Mm-hmm.
Private school. That's a fancy school. It also looks like it could go on Harry Potter. It's a little creepy.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So the caller wondered, how was it that Virginia already was home? Virginia, who had not been ill, countered with an excruciating question, where is my son?
Virginia called her husband at the car dealership he had owned since 1918 and Gilham Road and McKee Street Trafficway. It sat a mile north of Bobby's school, the French Institute of Notre Dame de Sion. It sounded so fancy there. An exclusive elementary school run by an order of French nuns. Ooh. Get out the paddles. Get out the rulers. Greenlease Cadillac. Ooh, Daddy owned a Cadillac dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Happy place to laugh out loud. There's no way I can actually sound fancy, right?
Robert Greenlease quickly called the police. Over decades of selling high-end cars through his Cadillac dealership and other Midwestern dealerships in which he was a partner, Robert Greenlease had become one of Kansas City's richest men.
Ooh. Are they going to put up a ransom for this child?
Oh, yeah.
Be like, keep my kid. Let me know when they're 18. No, I'm just kidding. You can keep them more than 24 hours without losing your mind. You can have them. I'm just kidding. That looks like off a movie set.
It does, right?
He did not, however, have a biological child until after he divorced his first wife and married Virginia Pollock, 27 years his junior, in 1939. The couple had a daughter, Virginia Sue, in 1941, followed by Bobby in 1947, when Robert was 65 years old. Ooh, he's an old dad.
Oh, yeah.
Got him a young wife.
Mm-hmm. Now someone has snatched their Bobby. At 3 p.m., September 28th, police announced the kidnapping.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bobby Greenlease Jr. That looks like a kid about ready to get himself into some trouble.
Like Dennis the Menace?
Yeah, Dennis the Menace, he belongs on Little Rascals as one of their buddies. He looks like he's about to get into some trouble.
Yeah.
Happy Place said he was rich. Probably wasn't too hard to land her.
Yeah.
That evening, postal authorities intercepted a special delivery letter from the kidnappers. If the Greenleases wanted Bobby back alive, it would cost them $600,000, the letter said. In the 21st century dollars, that was about $4.8 million. The note was signed M. Yeah, see,
Wow.
4.8 million. You can keep them for a week. Let me know how they behave.
Right.
Try to get them to eat their broccoli. See how that goes for you. You'll give them back eventually. Woman kidnaps son of millionaire at school. Kansas City, September 29th, and the millionaire parents of the 6-year-old boy kidnapped by a woman who prayed before the abduction. She prayed before she abducted. What? Said today they were willing to go to any lengths to get their child back safely. The boy, Robert Cosgrove Greenlease Jr., was lured from his classroom in an exclusive private school yesterday on a ruse. The woman's described as chunky. It's never kidding. They describe you as chunky. The woman's described as chunky, about 35 years old, with reddish hair. It cuts off down there.
Yeah.
Hey, Oracles and Beyond. How were you described in the newspaper? Chunky.
To confirm the receipt of the letter, Greenlease was to drive up and down Main Street between the 29th and 39th Streets. with a white t-shirt tied to his car antenna. At midnight, he and a friend did so.
Hippie said, "It was the lunch lady." Tommy Travel said, "The woman was described as chunky. That's got hurt." So him and his friend drove up and down on the road to confirm they got the letter. Jeez. The next morning, he went to Commerce Trust Company and asked bank executive Arthur Eisenhower, a brother of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, to draw the ransom money. The task would take several days. Dun, dun, dun. Greenlease home. Look at that house.
Mm-hmm.
Why is everybody, the house, the school, all got vines growing on it? Is that the thing back then?
Probably in that area. I don't know. That day, Robert Greenlease tried to talk to the press, but could utter only one sentence. By then, the news had spread around the country and soon would be known around the world. The taking of Bobby Greenlease became the biggest kidnapping story since the abduction and killing of Charles Lindbergh's baby boy more than 2 decades earlier.
I wonder if back then it was just so uncommon to kidnap, or if they didn't report on stuff like that unless you were rich. Robert Greenlease Sr. That night, the family received its first telephone call from M. The next morning, a second ransom letter arrived. The envelope contained a Jerusalem cross that Bobby had been wearing when kidnapped. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's where I lose it as a mom. If somebody sends me something with my kids,
M made nearly daily calls to the Greenleases for the next several days. At times, he sounded confused or simply drunk. Bobby, he said at one point, would be returned 24 hours after the ransom was received.
Medic Hippie says, M, very James Bond sounding.
Yep.
After 2 attempted deliveries of the money failed, largely because M gave confusing directions, the Greenleases received instructions for a third attempt, which would occur late October 4th. He's so drunk he can't give correct directions.
Like, do you want this money or not? You can't even give directions.
No kidding. Couldn't stay sober for like just a short length of time while you kidnapped my kid.
Right. 2 Greenlease friends dropped a duffel bag packed with the ransom money in eastern Jackson County, where Lee's Summit Road crossed the Little Blue River by a wooden bridge.
So D'Angelo said, no GPS back then? Tommy Travel said they knew it was M on the phone because it sounded like she was eating potato chips. Little Blue River. Hey, you think that'd be an easy place to like spot somebody coming and taking it? There's like not much traffic there.
Right.
Bobby was driving M to drink. Linda Barker. They're like, oh, this kid thing's hard. I need liquor. I think it's M soon called to report that he had picked it up. He said that directions for picking up Bobby would be sent to the Western Union Telegraph office in Pittsburgh, Kansas, about 100 miles south of Kansas City.
Two Greenlease associates drove there. Arriving the morning of October 5th, no message came. After 2 fruitless days, they returned to Kansas City.
No, you can't take the money and run. That's not.
Mm-mm.
On October 7th, word arrived from St. Louis that a man and woman in police custody had confessed to kidnapping Bobby. Also, the report said Bobby was dead. Authorities had dug up his body in a shallow grave at a St. Joseph house. What'd they kill him for if they got the money? Oh, it was all that driving them nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Kidnapped boy slain. Alleged abductors held. Body of Bobby Greenlease, 6, found in St. Joseph grave. $600,000 ransom recovered.
Yeah.
Is that the people that did it? I guess it is. They had handcuffs on.
Yeah.
She don't look chunky. She looks petite.
In retrospect, it was no surprise that the kidnappers got captured. The surprise was that they had remained on the loose so long. Through the entire episode, Carl Austin Hall, the real name of M, and Bonnie Brown Headley stayed drunk or drugged almost constantly.
Happy Place said, I believe they think he was killed right after he was abducted. Thrifty Angela said he was probably dead before they even got the money. Linda Barker says, I wouldn't call her chunky. Yeah. They'd met at a hotel bar in late May 1953. He was a 33-year-old small-time crook who spent an inherited fortune on bad business ventures, booze, gambling, and a home just off Ward Parkway. Carl Austin Hall.
She was 40, divorced from a successful livestock merchant, and playing her trade as a prostitute out of her St. Joseph home. Hall wanted a payoff that would set them up for life. Their victim would have to be killed, Hall told Heatley, to keep him from identifying them.
Oh, come on. They couldn't have blindfolded him? I guess when he came out of school, he was seeing the lady.
Yeah.
And she looks a little like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
The morning of the kidnapping, they headed south from St. Joseph, stopping at an early opening bar along the way, then watched Robert Greenlease drop off his son at school.
They drove to the Cott's drugstore at West Point Road and Main Street. After Hall handed Headley breath mints to cover the scent of alcohol, she walked 2 blocks to get a cab. The taxi took her to the private school where she spun her story about Bobby's mother being sick. The The taxi returned her and Bobby to the drugstore.
Yeah, Happy Place said, not like the nun didn't see her face when she picked the kid up. True,
Yeah.
true. She was such a drunk that they literally had to give her breath mints to make sure she didn't smell like alcohol going into the school. I mean, that's... How'd they even get away with taking him at that point?
Yeah. And that's him right there.
This one?
In the front. Yeah.
He doesn't look so much like a Dennis the Menace there. He looks very innocent there. It could be the kneeling and praying in church that's making him look innocent, but I don't know. And that stinks.
Yeah.
Is this one mine?
Yeah.
Hall and Heidi drove away. Sorry. I apologize. I went to sneeze, it stopped, and then it became a yawn. Hall and Heidi drove away. Bobby, they later recalled, happily told them about his family, his pets, and the family's 2 Cadillacs. They crossed into Kansas and headed south to a farm field. Unable to watch what would happen next, Heidi walked in the field with her dog. So here he is being nice to his kidnappers when they go and do something like that. Justin and Christina.
Inside the car, Hall tried to strangle Bobby with a clothesline. It proved too short. Bobby put up a fierce struggle. Hall pulled out a .38 caliber revolver, held Bobby down, and fired. He missed. He fired again, hitting Bobby's brain. He wrapped the dead child in blue plastic before they drove back to St. Joseph, where he had already dug Bobby's grave in a flower bed.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
50 Angela said, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Yeah. This is where Bobby was buried. After retrieving the ransom money, they headed east along US 40 through Missouri to St. Louis. Hall and Heidi hit bar after bar. Using some of the money, they rented an apartment near Tower Grove Park, where Heidi stayed, too drunk to continue.
Hall found a cab driver who provided him a prostitute. The driver, realizing how much money Hall was throwing around, notified a friend. Soon, a St. Louis police officer, thought to be corrupt, and a detective arrested Hall at a motel along US 66.
I wonder if that's the Coral Motel. Let's see. Is this the shallow grave?
Yeah, that's the shallow grave.
Hey, Rally Creative Travel. Hall confessed to the kidnapping and led police to Haiti. Eventually, both admitted the murder too, barely 2 months after their capture, and the 2 were executed.
That was pretty fast.
Yeah, that's a quick from the time they're picked up to the time they're executed. Now people stay in prison for like 20, 30, 40 years before they're executed. Kidnap killers pay penalty in prison gas cell. Those chairs look so medical.
Right. Yeah. Authorities found less than 300,000 of the original 600,000 ransom. Where the rest went remains a mystery. Although some think a St. Louis mobster had it laundered through associates in Chicago.
They owe somebody a ton of money, maybe like a mobster or something.
Oh.
The Greenlease family had a holy rosary prayed on the evening of October 8th, 1953 at the W.G. Pearson's Lovely Stein and McClure Undertakers, located on Gilham Plaza, just 3 blocks south of the Greenlease Cadillac Motor Company. I said all those names. I'm proud of myself. In memory of Robert C. Greenlease Jr., the Greenlease Motor Car Company will be closed October 9th. I don't understand why they killed him. The taxi driver that drove from the drugstore over to the school seen her. The nun seen her.
Yeah. The Holy Mass of the Angels was celebrated for Bobby on October 9th, 1953 in his church, St. Agnes Roman Catholic Church in Roland Park, Kansas.
Happy Place said, the 2 cops were supposedly in jail after the arrest because it was thought they had taken half of the money. They're just dirty, stealing from a man who's done lost his kid and his money.
Yeah.
The Mass was presided over by the Most Reverend Edward Hunkerkeller, the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Kansas City in Kansas, and the Reverend Monsignor Herman J. Koch, the parish pastor. Okay, I stumbled a lot more on that one. The archdiocese word kind of threw me for a minute. That's a lot of flowers.
Mm-hmm.
He was definitely loved.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. This is the same church where Bobby was baptized as an infant and where he was an active member. Bobby Greenlease was embalmed in the family crypt in the Forest Hill Abbey Mausoleum inside Forest Hill Cemetery, located at 6901 Cross Avenue in Kansas City, Missouri.
He was entombed in the family crypt. So, like, they didn't bury him. They just put his body in in one of those concrete building type things, huh? I have a hard time going to cemeteries, like to visit family or anything like that. I can't do it. I just don't feel like they're there. I feel like their spirit's already left and their body's there. I don't know. It's just, Trost isn't a good area anymore. Don't go visit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Fantastic Travels. That's like a lot of the counties in North County, which is north of St. Louis. I'm south of St. Louis, but the counties that are like north of downtown St. Louis, some of them were more of the wealthy communities, like more of the well-to-do families lived north of St. Louis. And now you can't even step into those towns unless you're driving through in a bulletproof car. So it's crazy to me how a town can go from being like an upper class town to now it's like nothing anymore. I don't understand. You have to have a lovely name like that to be an undertaker. Nobody is going to use Jake's Undertaking.
Yeah.
I think back in the day, everybody was very like Catholic church schools and stuff like that. They didn't have as many kids in public schools back then, did they? Didn't most kids go to private schools?
I think there are private schools.
Yeah, I remember when I was in like elementary, beginning of elementary up till 3rd grade, I was in private schools. We had to get our first communion and we had to do all that stuff. Nowadays, I don't see kids doing that.
Yeah.
Guessing that's his sister. What was her name? Virginia, I think it was.
Yeah, Virginia Sue.
Everybody dressed so fancy back then.
Mm-hmm. Bobby's father, his mother, and his sister are also entombed. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the same room with Bobby. His stepbrother Paul and his families are interred elsewhere in the same cemetery.
Mm-hmm. The whole family's there.
Yeah.
Robert Greenlease, who, with his wife, donated money and land to Rockhurst University and Rockhurst High School, died in 1969. Virginia Greenlease died in 2001, leaving $1 million to the university and high school in the names of her husband and her son. How old was she? Oh, that's the daughter. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was the mom. I was like, good Lord, how old was she when she died?
Well, her name was Virginia, and the daughter was Virginia Sue. So.
Oh, and it says in her husband and her son's name. So, yeah, I guess that was her.
Yeah.
How old was she when she passed away? She said 1954 to... Oh, that's not going to really give me a good age. I'm going to have to go back and check that. She's got to be in her hundreds, right? Like early 100 or upper 90s.
She was 20 years younger than him, and he was in his 60s.
Yeah. Still, that was so long ago for her to die in 2001. I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head looking like it's a lot further than it is, but
yeah.
Well, don't forget she was 27 years younger than him, so it's half a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Robert C. Greenlease Sr., 1882 to 1969. Robert C. Greenlease Jr., 1947 to 1953. Okay. Figure out the math, someone. She was 27 years younger than Robert C. Greenlease Sr., and that was in 1882 that he was born. So 27 years after that, she was born. Happy Place Camping said she was 92 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's a long time for the back in the day. I mean, you were lucky if you lived to be in your 80s. That was considered old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you lived to 92. That's a good long life. Sad because she lived it without her son. But
yeah.
hey, Timmy Ray the King. That was a crazy story.
Yeah, it was a pretty sad story researching it. I was heartbroken, you know.
I don't understand why they had it. I don't think they had to kill him. I think they were just so messed up from all the drinking and whatnot. They weren't thinking very clearly. What do you think?
And like Felix said, it was, but I want to say the day they kidnapped him is when they murdered him. The same day.
They're probably just too lazy to even have to take care of him. Yeah, that would have been too much work.
Yeah.
Happy Place said the sister was only like 42 when she died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I want to say that it was very rare for somebody from that time frame to make it to the ripe old age of 90, let's say. Most people were, I think, dying younger than that, like much younger for a little while.
Yeah.
So said, how is everyone doing today? I'm doing great. Give my aunt a hard time about her boyfriend and wall.
Okay.
Doing pretty good, Timmy. I think on Friday, Hippie gave me this true crime scenario situation thing to talk about. And it's about like stuff that happens when you sleepwalk. So on Friday, I'm going to be talking about that. On Friday. Some stuff that happens when you sleepwalk. I think it would be a good conversation.
Now, I used to be a sleepwalker as a child.
Oh, yeah.
My mom would find me in the backyard. I would be asleep in the yard.
My son, I thought somebody kidnapped him the first time he ever sleepwalked because I couldn't find him anywhere. And then after that, we realized he was a sleepwalker. And he'd come walking out. He'd go in the kitchen, pull down his pants. He'd like be facing the fridge to go to the bathroom in the fridge. But the best one that he ever did was my neighbor that I didn't like had come over, and she was standing in the living room by the front door. She was in there, and she was just talking and talking and talking. She wouldn't stop talking. She wouldn't leave. And here comes my son walking out of his bedroom. Walks right up to her, and he pulls his pants down. She starts screaming, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" Well, like, he sleepwalks and pees in the middle of the night. And she's like, "Make him stop, make him stop."
Wow.
Yeah, I know sleepwalking it's real. When we woke my son up, he was always kicking and fighting because it scared him. He didn't know where he was or what was happening.
And isn't the old cliche is not to wake him?
Well, we would try not to wake him. We would just gently like give him a nudge back to where he needed to be. But if we did wake him, it was insane. It took a long time to get him to calm back down.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Happy Place Camping said, my grandma's sister just died a couple of weeks ago, and she would have been 100 on the 6th. Aw. I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry, Philip.
Hippie says, can't wait. I love sweet sleepwalking stories.
Yeah.
Happy Place says, so is sleep talking. Hey, Cherry Holly.
Jerry Holly.
Hitch Up and Toe said, my wife woke up in the morning with grass between her toes. Heavy says, it's better to wake them than to let them crash a car or fall off a cliff sleepwalking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do believe you. Like, sometimes you can't avoid it. You have to wake them. But, like, my brother, he was a sleepwalker, and he slept in the nude. And him and the other two brothers, they slept in the basement. And my brother was a big guy. He was, like, super tall and kind of heavyweight. So he slept nude with a blanket wrapped around him. Well, he come walking up the stairs one night. He walked through our dining room, and me and my mom were sitting in the living room. And he walked through the dining room into the kitchen. And when he came back out of the kitchen, he didn't have a blanket no more. It was just him, naked, standing in our dining room. And my mom's like, he's sleepwalking. And I'm like, leave him alone. Don't wake him. Because he was talking and he was saying he was going to head out the front door. And my mom's like, I got to wake him. Your sister's coming home on a date. And I said, and this is even more perfect. Let him get outside. Like, in my head, I'm like, him naked in the front yard, my sister and her date pulling up. This can't get any better. My mom's like, you can't do that to him. And I'm like, he won't care. He'll think it's funny. No, we have to wake him. So she did wake him. And as soon as he realized he was standing there butt naked, like, he went running back down the stairs. He didn't even try to find his blanket. We went in and his blanket was stuffed in the trash can.
Oh.
That was good stuff. But Linda Barker said, my nephew peed in the toy box. They couldn't let him sleep on the top bunk. Yeah. Heavy Place said, my brother was a sleepwalker, but mostly a talker. Hippie said, my ex-girlfriend would have sleep X. At least she was snoring in the middle of it. Tommy Travels said, what if someone murdered people in their sleep? Would they be guilty? Stay tuned to next Friday.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else. I don't remember what it was. It was about, my ex, he used to sleep talk. And he'd also move around and do things. And I remember one night he got up and he moved the candles around in our room. And I thought he was awake doing it. I had no idea that he was sleepwalking. And the next morning I asked him about it. And he's like, I didn't do that. And like, I sat here and watched you do it. You did do it. Well, then I realized, okay, he sleepwalks and talks and stuff. And one night I look over and he's sitting with his feet hanging off the edge of the bed. And he's going like this, just to the air. He's just over and over again to the air. So I finally said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm petting my horse. You go ahead and pet your horse. I'm going back to sleep. But he's a horse. He was a horse. And then that time he woke up yelling, kids in masks and helmets. And I was like, kids in what? He said, kids in masks and helmets. I said, well, I hope they don't get you. I'm going back to bed.
And you see what Jerry Holly wrote?
Let me scroll over here. Jerry Holly. I do that too, especially when I'm camping in the desert. Well,
he's on his way to courtside. So that's why he's saying that.
Gotcha. My brother always slept like that. I knew he slept like that. That's what kept me out of the basement. I didn't want to go down there and see that mess. Well, then one time we had a friend over and we were going to camp in a tent in the backyard. Here comes my brother with his blanket and his pillow. And I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to camp out here with you girls. You need somebody to protect you. he thought the girl that was with us was cute. I said, you can't sleep with us. You sleep naked. He said, I won't sleep naked. I'll leave my britches on. Like, this is not happening. My brother was a hoot.
Oh, that's funny.
But he ended up sleeping out there that night. And the girl ended up, she was like a kid that was a lot of trouble. And so we had a street that ran behind us. And she had some boy meet her. So she left our tent in the middle of the night, hopped the fence, and went off with some boy. And here's my brother stuck with me and my sister. He came out to hang out with a cute girl. He got stuck with me and my sister. It's good stuff. Happy Place says, you will be required now. Wear PJs in the desert, Jerry Holly.
Yeah. Unless he wants to park over by the circle, people, he needs to wear PJs.
Just think about it. What if Jerry Holly sleepwalks and make an awful good video?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But we are going to talk about kind of what Tommy Travel said. People that have murdered. There's a couple of people that Hippie told me about and get the stories on and stuff. So we're going to talk about whether or not you can be found guilty and how many people have been found guilty or not been found guilty because they were sleepwalking.
Yep.
Happy Place says sleepwalks into a cactus. That might be painful. That would not be good. I didn't think about that part.
Right.
Well, I hope you have safe travels on down to the desert, Jerry Holly.
Yes.
And thank you, Nettie, for joining me. As always, Sundays are my favorite. I'll even wake up out of a dead sleep to make sure I make it on here.
And they're my favorite too, BB. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone who came and joined us tonight. I appreciate it. Oh, sorry. Almost forgot. I was talking to Nettie beforehand. I might be changing the name of my channel. I might be changing it to like something that has to do with hauntings and true crimes and stuff like that. So if you see a random channel that shows up that you're not subscribed to, but you're actually subscribed to them, that's probably me. Don't unsubscribe. But I think I'm going to change the name of the channel a little bit. Probably something like Hauntings, History, and Mystery, or Paranormal with a Twist, something like that. So if you all of a sudden have a paranormal channel in your subscriptions, that's just me. Leave me there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to do that, I think, this week. I was going to do it. I'd already started messing with it. But then I was like, nobody will know that's me. It'll just be like, what's this random channel? So I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Happy Place said, crime and hauntings with BB. Hitch Up and Toe said, I'm going to handcuff myself to the bed from now on. Oh, no. That was something else I was thinking of. Tommy Rebel said, beyond spooky. That's kind of cute. And that one.
Ooh, that is cute.
I'll have to look that one up and see if that one's taken. But yeah, there will be a name change coming up. But Sunday show is always going to be called the same thing. So, because I like that. I think that was a real good call for me and Nettie to name it that.
Yeah, I like it too.
All right. Well, I'll be back on Friday at 5 p.m. And Nettie and I will be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. with more spookiness.
Yay.
Wishing you all much kindness and much love.
And sending love your way.
And I will definitely come back later and look at these names you guys are dropping. I absolutely love it. So, all right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.